Hey everyone, it's been a while. I want to start by saying thank you to those who stuck around, to those who found value in the coral reef videos I made years ago, and to those who are just discovering this channel. I owe you all an explanation. Life has changed a lot since the last time I uploaded. My family and I have been on a long journey preparing for immigration from Hong Kong to Canada and the UK. It's been an emotional few years, filled with hope, uncertainty, and a deep sense of reflection. I want to take a moment to sincerely thank the people of the UK and Canada for welcoming immigrants like us. Your kindness and openness have made it possible for us to begin again and to dream in new ways. As we packed our lives into boxes and said goodbye to the home we knew, I began to question things I never had the time to truly sit with before. Back when I was creating those coral reef tank videos, I was fascinated, enchanted even, by the beauty of the ocean in my own living room. But as time went on, I began to ask myself, was it right to keep a piece of the sea confined behind glass? In my love for marine life, had I prioritized my own fascination over the freedom of the creatures I cared for? As departure day drew near, I felt a mix of fear and urgency. Fear that the freedoms I once took for granted were disappearing, and urgency to break free from all forms of confinement, physical, emotional, and even philosophical. In that mindset, I couldn't help but see a parallel. What if the creatures I once kept were feeling the same thing? What if they too longed to be free? Before we left, I rehomed every piece of livestock, carefully checking each potential new home's water chemistry to give them the best possible chance at survival. That was a difficult but necessary goodbye. Since arriving in Canada, I've been studying computer information technology, learning new tools and ideas, and diving deep into the world of tech. And now, having graduated, I'm ready to return. But this time, the channel will be different. We're still staying close to nature, but instead of tanking it, we'll reach for it. I'll take you outside, into the wild, to explore the living beauty of our planet as it is, free, untamed, and deeply inspiring. And alongside that, I'll share how we can use AI and web technologies to celebrate and protect that beauty by building websites, digital experiences, and communities rooted in our shared love for nature. My first stop in Canada was Vancouver, a city that instantly felt like a gentle landing place after such a turbulent time. Vancouver has a quiet kind of peace to it. The air feels cleaner, and the pace of life a little slower in a way that invites reflection. What struck me most was its diversity. People from all corners of the world walk these streets, bring their languages, cultures, and stories together into a single shared space. For someone starting fresh, it's a comforting feeling to be among many others who also came from somewhere else. And just a short drive south, across the border, is Washington State, a place I've always wanted to explore more deeply. Knowing that both Canadian wilderness and American national parks are within reach made me excited. Nature isn't far away here. In many ways, it feels like it's right at your doorstep. After settling in Vancouver, I had the chance to spend 8 unforgettable months on Vancouver Island during my semester break. It was mesmerizing, like stepping into another world, one where nature whispers constantly and every corner feels alive. Living there wasn't just visiting nature, it was immersing myself in it. The island is a living, breathing ecosystem, and it left a deep mark on me. Each region of the island has its own soul. The South Island, with places like Victoria, Sooke, and Sydney, is delicate, rich in history, and filled with stories of the past. The East Coast, from Parksville to Qualicum Beach and Nanaimo is peaceful, tranquil, and perfect for slow, thoughtful days. The West Coast, home to Tofino, Euclid, and the Pacific Rim National Park, is pure wilderness. The raw power of the ocean, the mist-covered forests, it's nature in its most untamed form. The Central Island, including Campbell River, Comox Valley, and Mount Washington, is one of the richest salmon ecosystems on the planet. You can feel the pulse of life in every stream. And the remote North Island, with places like Port Hardy, Port McNeill, and Telegraph Cove, is mysterious and less touched, filled with a quiet kind of wonder that makes you feel like a guest in an ancient world. I'm planning to move back to the island this May and bring all of you with me through the lens of this channel. There are so many stories waiting to be told, and so many breathtaking places I can't wait to share. Just recently, in late March, I took a 2-day trip to Sooke on the South Island to begin preparing for the move, and that trip opened the door to so much inspiration. So in the next part of this video, I'll share with you what you can do on a 2-day journey across the South Island and East Coast, where to go, what to see, and how to soak up every moment of it. The journey to Vancouver Island itself is already something special. I took the early morning ferry from Swanson to Swartz Bay, and if you ever have the chance, don't sleep through it. As the ferry glides through the Gulf Islands, the sunrise paints the sky, and the light and the shadow play across the archipelagos in a way that feels like a dream. It's quiet, almost sacred, a moment of calm before the adventure begins. My first stop after arriving on the island was the iconic Butchart Gardens, a place many have heard of, but few realize how different it feels through the seasons. When I visited in early March, it was still waking up from winter. It may not have been the peak blooming season, but even then, the structure of the garden, the care in its design, and the early signs of life were already beautiful to witness. If you're planning a visit, here's a little seasonal guide. Mid-April is when the cherry blossoms truly put on a show. Mid-May is the height of the floral explosion, a true feast of color and a fresh green life. Autumn brings deep, rich hues, reds, oranges, and golds that make every corner of the garden feel like a painting. And in winter, the gardens transform again, thousands of lights turning it into a glowing wonderland. One of the most iconic sections is the sunken garden. Built inside an old limestone quarry, it's a stunning example of transformation. How something once lifeless and industrial can be turned into a place of breathtaking beauty. From the moment you step in, the garden opens up like a hidden world, with winding paths, vibrant beds of flowers, and layers upon layers of green. It's the kind of place that reminds you how deeply creativity and nature can be intertwined. Just a short walk away, the atmosphere shifts entirely as you step into the Japanese garden. It's quieter here, more about subtlety than color. Designed with deep respect for traditional Japanese landscaping, it uses space, light, and water to create a sense of calm and reflection. Stone lanterns, arched bridges, flowing streams, and carefully placed plants all come together to create a harmony that invites you to slow down and simply breathe. No matter where you go, Butchart Gardens is more than just a tourist spot. It's a living reminder of how nature, with a little help, can speak to the soul. After spending some time in the gardens, I continued exploring the east coast of Victoria. One of my favorite moments was standing at the top of a coastal hill, not far from the city, where the forest gives way to sweeping panoramic views. From up there, you can see the entire city stretch out to the sea, the peninsula winding to the ocean with the Gulf Islands scattered like stepping stones in the distance. And if you're lucky enough to visit after a rainy day, you might just catch a rainbow arcing over the water, adding a quiet kind of magic to the already stunning scene. As I moved along the southern coastline, the landscape began to open up. Wide skies, wind-swept grasslands, and the endless rhythm of waves meeting the shore. The wind is almost always present there, and when the conditions are right, you will see parachute surfers, brave souls dancing with the sea and the sky, lifted by gusts as they glide across the waves. Watching them feels like watching freedom in motion. A short walk inland brings you into Beacon Hill Park, one of the most charming green spaces I've ever wandered through. The park is full of life, not just the trees and the flowers, but peacocks strutting proudly through the open paths, and squirrels darting between benches and branches, always looking for a snack or a bit of mischief. It's a place where city and nature blend together effortlessly. Toward the edge of the coastline, there are a bunch of peaceful parks nestled quietly above the water. From their rocky cliffs, you can look out over the straits toward the mountains in the distance. There's a kind of stillness there, where even the wind seems to pause so you can take in the view a little longer. Not far from the southern coast lies a place that feels like stepping into an ancient forest, Gold Stream Provincial Park. In March, you won't see the full canopy of green leaves just yet. Many trees are still bare, holding back their spring coats. But don't let that fool you. This is actually one of the best times to visit, especially if you're someone who loves to notice the little things. If you look closely in the creeks, something miraculous is happening. Baby salmon are hatching. These tiny fry begin their journey emerging to the world under the same cool waters where their ancestors returned to spawn. It's a reminder of nature's cycles, quietly unfolding beneath the surface, season after season. On the southern tip of the island, there is a place that feels like a quiet secret, East Sooke. It's wilder here, less developed, and full of that raw coastal energy that makes you feel like you've stepped far away from everyday life. The ground is soft underfoot, not just from dirt and pine needles, but from a gentle layer of moss, covering the rocks like a natural blanket. It's a small detail, but it adds a kind of softness to the rugged coastline, like nature's quiet way of saying, "You are welcome here." One of the most beautiful spots I found was a rocky outcrop at the edge of the ocean. The views stretch endlessly across the strait, and the cliffs feel ancient, carved slowly by wind and waves over time. Standing there, you can watch seals bobbing the waves below, or eagles soaring overhead. And often it's just you and the ocean, with only the wind to keep you company. There's no need for words in a place like that. It speaks in its own language. Just a little inland from the coast is one of Sooke's most surprising treasures, the Sooke potholes. At first glance, it looks like a winding forest river, but as you follow the trail, the landscape changes. The water has carved its way through stone over thousands of years, creating a series of deep, smooth pools tucked between rocky cliffs. Back on the coast, one of my favorite places in Sooke is a long, narrow strip of land that stretches out into the ocean. It's like nature built a pathway just for you, surrounded by waves on both sides, with views of the mountains in the distance and seabirds circling above. The spot is especially magical for those who love marine life. If you are lucky and patient, you might just see an orca rising from the water. Even if you don't catch a glimpse of whales, there's something deeply peaceful about walking along the path, with the sound of the surf on both sides and the wind coming in from the strait. It's a place where you can pause, breathe, and feel connected to the wild world all around you. As my 2-day journey came to a close, I made my way to Nanaimo, where the ferry would take me back to the mainland. Before boarding, I took a quiet walk through Matthew Sutton Park, where children laughed by the water's edge and the city's heartbeat gently faded into the sea breeze. But it wasn't in the city where the final memories settled into my heart. It was just beside the Duke Point Highway, in a spot most people pass without ever noticing. There, in a hidden clearing, the ground was covered in thick, short moss, glowing light green and incredibly fresh after 2 days of steady rain. The inner sea lay perfectly still, like a giant mirror, stretching into the distance, quietly reflecting the shifting colors of the sky and the soft golden light of the setting sun. It was one of those rare moments where everything feels in balance. I'd be hoping to see a rainbow, some small sign after 2 gray days. I looked around, but the sky was quiet. Then, as I turned my head back toward the road, I saw it. A rainbow just for a moment, and I almost cried. That moment, so fleeting, so unexpected, felt like a message, a quiet reminder that hope does arrive, even when we are tired, even when we least expect it. So if you are out there feeling lost or uncertain, I want to send this rainbow to you. May it help you hold on just a little longer, because even the rain knows how to make something beautiful when the time is right. The journey doesn't end here. As I set off again, I'm moving towards something new. And I hope you'll come along with me as we explore, reflect, and rediscover the wild beauty that speaks to us all.